Our series that we're starting, our worship series we're starting for the next 6 weeks is titled The Coming. We're going to be exploring various narratives that happen in the birth of Jesus Christ. We just find this to be so important. And today we just want to focus on the big picture, the anticipation, the excitement. I love the kids' video, right? The excitement of Christmas. Even before Thanksgiving, we know there's already excitement around, and lights are coming up, and I've already heard people talking about getting their Christmas trees up and all the excitement that comes with the holiday season. And today we are in a story what many call the Annunciation, the announcement that Mary will bear the son named Jesus. When Mary is minding her own business, doing her thing, maybe planning a wedding, then she's told that she will conceive the Messiah, the one prophesied to bring about a new kingdom from the line of David, a new hope for God's people. This Annunciation, it's a popular scene that many artists have used as a way to capture the moment. And I think we have one of these pictures available for you. And this one is from Da Vinci. Should come up any minute now. Still painting it. You hear me back there, Steve? Is it not working? It is. I'm blind. I don't see it. Next slide. Yeah, I need to get the other glasses. All right. But what it is the scene, this is what it captures. It shows Mary is spinning thread as this angel is hovering over her. And the history of it, the tradition of it, the legend of it is that she's already spinning Jesus' shroud in the grave, somehow intuitively knowing as a mother that she is preparing for his death before even his birth. And whether that's true or not, the fact is that Da Vinci and other painters are trying to capture that this is an interruption to Mary's life. That what she is called to do is something completely abnormal, crazy, abstract. I mean, you name it. It's bizarre. It's a bizarre story. And Luke, where we're at this morning, paints this picture where he has the story of Zechariah and Elizabeth with the birth of John the Baptist, which was already brought up earlier, and then Joseph and Mary with the birth of Jesus. And in many ways, they're shared stories with, angel visits and proclamation of the coming of a new age and the fulfillment of prophecy and even the overcoming of human deficiency. One which is an older barren woman, and another one which is virginity. But these stories are also between Zechariah and Elizabeth and Mary and Joseph. They're very different. We have to point that out. For example, let's look at Zechariah and Mary and compare them. Zechariah is from this high priestly order and spends most of his days in a temple in Jerusalem, where Mary, she probably doesn't even have a job. Spends time in a village in Nazareth. Married. Zechariah is married. Mary is single. Zechariah is male. Mary is female. Zechariah is priestly. Mary is not. Zechariah is at the top, and Mary is at the bottom. And yet God seems, in some way or another, reverses order of what people expect that's supposed to come next. And yet Mary is the one that receives the blessing to be the bearer of the Son of God. she's visited by Gabriel, the angel Gabriel, literally meaning from the strength of God. And Mary seems to receive that strength in immeasurable ways. Parents, when you received word that you are going to have a child, there's excitement, there's anticipation. Remember that? And then, as time goes on in your pregnancy, in this 9-month window, and don't worry, I know, guy code, guys always have to be careful how they talk about pregnancies. I get that, so I'm going to be very careful. Don't you worry, I was raised right. But at least for me, I remember kind of numb, shocked, not really know what to expect the first time when our first child came. People would try to tell you what it's going to be about, what it's like, what you're going to expect, how you should parent, how you shouldn't parent. And they have all these suggestions, right? And you get more and more excited. You get excited. And then at one point, you're just ready for the baby to come, right? And then the baby comes. And it's exciting. It's awesome. It is fantastic. But it's also a real shocker. It messes with the way of life you once had. It's an interruption to your plan. Lack of sleep. Babies, bless their hearts, they don't listen very well sometimes. They like to cry. You will conceive and give birth to a son. You are to call him Jesus. He will be great. He will be called the Son of the Most High. The Lord God will give him the throne of his father David. He will reign over Jacob's descendants forever. His kingdom will never end. And Mary says, how will this be? How can this be? Surprise! Your world has changed. And Mary's response? Let it be to me according to your will. So I can't do this justice at all. I know that. I cannot do justice to Mary's response. But I do know that if I was even one way or the other in that situation, far-fetched as it may be, I do not think I could have made that type of response. Let it be me according to your will. You see, the fact is, I'm not especially interested in being interrupted by God. God's plans rarely seem to coincide with my own. God, no interruptions, please. It's like that painting. I'm minding my own business. I have my job, my family, my goals, my security. God, I don't know if I want you to show up and be part of my life. I don't know. I mean, you can, but no surprises, please. And so for me, this scene is one of the most challenging passages of Scripture. Not because I don't know what I think about angels visiting, and not because I don't know what to do with barren or virgin births, but because the passage seems to suggest that to live the life of faith, we must let God interrupt us. Whether Mary was spinning or planning her wedding, the Annunciation came as an interruption in a life that had been proceeding according to plan. I mean, are we really wanting God to show up and radically change our own plans?
I think we do when it counts. I mean, I know there are a number of people with us this morning who are hoping for a God-like interruption right now. Heal me, God, heal me, or rescue me, God, rescue me. But then there are those of us who have our plans. We like to keep things tidy and orderly and on schedule, no surprises, right? Religiously speaking, employment speaking, family speaking, no surprises. It reminds me of growing up in our house with my mom, and we love, this isn't against our family at all, we love our family, but we did not like the idea of our family just showing up and just coming to the house and saying, hey, it's your cousins, or it's your grandma. Because my mom wanted everything to be right with the house, right? Sheets cleaned, house in perfect shape, meals planned out, everything scheduled. So when you did come over to the house, it was going to be a perfect experience. So if you showed up and surprised us, it was not a surprise. We were not happy. I'm thinking about that right now, that story, and I'm thinking, did I just tell my church don't show up at my house? Maybe, I don't know. I'll let you interpret that one. Are we willing to open ourselves up to God? Mary, she receives it. She embraces it. She responds to God in the most faithful ways. And look, I'm not saying Zechariah is not faithful, even though he does respond in disbelief. But here's the deal. Here's a religious leader that spends time in the house of God, and yet it's the powerless young girl from a small village that says, let it be according to your will. And I don't know about you, but that gives me some hope. Of course, there's reasons. Like, I like to emphasize individuals in the Bible that seem to struggle or flee or doubt, right? Like Jonah or the prophets or Peter. These stories comfort us. It reminds us that we are not alone in our desire to escape or question. But the reality is we have to move beyond the questioning and the escape. And we have to open ourselves up to receiving God in God's fullness, so God can transform us in awesome ways. And that's exactly why Mary's story is so profound and why we even sung the song. See, after the end of 29, she wonders and she asks a question or two, but eventually she fiercely claims this calling. And it's her own now. It's her calling. It's her son. It's her mission. And it's seen and it's evident throughout, because she doesn't just give birth to the son, but she also buries her son. She is a main character, and she will be with her child throughout his life. And then she sings this song of power that still hits me every time I read it. Mary praises God in the Magnificat for another kind of interruption. She proclaims that God is bringing about a new life in us that's inseparable to God. And Mary de-establishes the proud and establishes God. God lifts up the humble and knocks down the powerful. God fills up the hungry and sends away the rich empty. That Magnificat that Mary sings is a prayer about God's revolution interrupting not only in our own tidy, ordered lives, but our social order, where God just comes in and just seems to just really mess things up for the world. In a good sense. In a hopeful sense. In rescuing. It is a prayer that allows us to see God work and interrupt what this world has created and has invited us to participate in God's interruptions through Jesus Christ. That's what the coming is. I mean, sure, many of us, including me, I'm excited about visiting family and eating our favorite foods and enjoying family traditions, maybe even receive a few gifts. But maybe allowing God's interruption in my life, letting go of what I think is important and hearing the invitation to be invited to God's unfolding plan of Christ in this world, maybe that's the best gift that I can receive this year. Once again, allowing myself to be surprised and interrupted by God's unfolding plan. No matter where you are in your faith, can Christ do that for you? Radically transform you in this coming season. Charlie Faust wrote a poem, and he sent it to me as I was kind of processing. Actually, Rita did, and then I got permission on behalf of Rita that I could read Charlie's. How about that? And this is what it says. The innkeeper said, "There's some hay over here," so I paid him. But what I do now isn't clear. My donkey can't eat here. There's simply no way. A baby is sleeping on top of the hay. There's a kid in the feed trough? That's just the last straw. Surely that's got to be breaking some law. My donkey is hungry. I paid for her meal, but a kid's in the feed trough. It doesn't seem real. The mom and the dad are asleep over there. They had a long night, I suppose. I don't care. I had a long night too, 12 miles away. The sky seemed alive and the stars seemed to play. The heavens were dancing with music and light. So I walked with my donkey the whole crazy night. There's a kid in the feed trough, a child in this shed. I can't feed my donkey that hay. That's its bed. It is really tiny. I hope it's not cold. It can't be much more than a few hours old. I wonder if this kid's a boy or a girl. I wonder what it will become in this world. If ever this kid rides a donkey someday, I hope it remembers we gave up some hay. So it had a bed that was still somewhat soft and quietly left. Sleep well, kid, in the trough. Thanks, Charlie. I love the imagery. Going along your way, minding your own business, and then he encounters a baby. Which spot will Christ take in your life today? That baby took the spot where he was supposed to feed the donkey. So which spot will Christ take in your life today? What kind of interruption are you needing from God this morning?